welcome to the Game Buzz, where we tear apart the week's news. I'm Matt, and I'm joined here once again by Jonathan Lester
Hi there.
and Carl Phillips.
Hello.
And we're going to kick off with a little look back at something that I managed to sneak into last week's Game Buzz, because we chatted about it afterwards, and I sort of poked it back in the intro, which is we chatted last week about the update to Curiosity. That will see sort of players adding blocks in on the last 50 layers while other players try to take them away, that you can pay to put blocks back and pay to sort of destroy the little cubelets en masse. And now, apparently we're down to the last 50 layers out of the
About
blue.
time.
And not only that, but it looks like they've estimated internally. Apparently, 22 Cans have made calculations, and internally, they've estimated that the cube, what's inside the cube, will be unveiled on the same day as the Microsoft press conference, at which Peter Molyneux might have some sort of involvement, maybe.
Gosh, that's convenient, isn't it?
How
I mean,
convenient is
if
that?
if I was like tinfoil hat paranoid rather than just cynical, I'd suggest that he put in those microtransactions to grow the cube, so that they could just add more cubes server side themselves and balance it out just on their end until it came to until May 21st. Seems like quite a clever way of doing that, because there's no way of knowing how many people are doing that, adding cubes and paying to do it. So, behind the scenes, Peter could just be like, yeah, fuck it, add a few more million cubes, take a few more away, add a few more. Yeah, I think we can get this down to the 21st. But of course, that would be an incredibly paranoid thing to suggest. Yeah, it's strange that it's strange that those two dates sort of intersect. But on the other hand, the whole point is that only the person who gets to the middle of the cube should be able to find out what it is. And what it is could well be a year of Xbox Live subscription.
It will change their life.
That's not life change.
Or
Is
Bulmer's Bulmer's leering, tongue-looning face.
Or Bulmer's job.
Being your butler for like a year of your life.
That'd be cool.
That'd be life changing right there. But getting back onto the point about how it's all very convenient that it's the same days. What Peter Molyneux has said is really confusing, in that he has been asked to be involved in a part of the Xbox announcement, but not by Microsoft.
Yeah.
So what exactly is that kind of implying? I mean, is he he's not going to be in the conference, like he will not be on stage, we won't see him, but he's going to be involved in some sort of aspect that isn't to do with Microsoft. So,
well, on a very basic level, it could mean that he is in the big montage of developers saying how wonderful the next Xbox is. There is always a big montage of developers saying, "Oh, this new console is going to be wonderful. Oh, it changes everything," at every console launch ever. Like, if you think back to the PS4 reveal.
yes,
There was that
by
huge,
Microsoft.
There was that huge montage. So it's possible that Microsoft have got Molyneux on board to say a few words about, oh wow, the next Xbox is so
Yeah,
innovative.
but that's Microsoft saying, "Come join us," and he said that it's not through Microsoft.
He says it's not through Microsoft asking him to like appear on stage, but I think that doing that could be a possibility. It's also possible that maybe they'll be revealing a new Fable title, and Molyneux might be at the conference in some capacity to talk about the history of it. I don't know. Or otherwise he's going to do a duet with Usher, perhaps.
No.
Perhaps
Will I have?
He'll be
Will I
leading
have?
the tweet choir.
Yeah, he
Will I-
could be leading the tweet choir.
Conducting it with Milo.
Yeah. And
Like
giving
Milo
out
Milo
acorns to
conducting
everyone
the
in the
tweet choir.
audience to grow
That's-
into oak trees.
Yeah. That's but like, yeah, he's come out and said, like, they're the last person I don't know, I'm the last person they're going to want on stage, and that 22 Cans are definitely not making an Xbox exclusive. He said that he's firmly in the multi-device camp now. But yeah, the Fable concept, that theory's not a horrible idea. I mean, especially if they're like, look, we've got this awesome online Fableness, and he's just there talking about Fable, which is very much still his baby.
Yeah, but then again, you'd expect their new CEO and the Lionhead's new sort of MMO veteran boss to step up to the plate really and say, look, this is a new chapter for Fable. But yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to get Molyneux saying a few things about, oh, this was my baby, this was what I did. I basically just made some West Country accents and tried to build an RPG around it. Isn't it great?
Unless he's kind of there to present the Curiosity Prize, I don't know if how that would even work. Or no, that's not happening. I don't know. In any case, it's a massive mystery, and he's being cagey as fuck.
Molyneux? No.
So yeah, we'll find out on May 21st. But yeah, strange goings on.
And either way, I want Curiosity to come to an end now. I mean, yeah, I kind of buy the fact that it was this cool experiment to start with, but I really do feel like it's lasted kind of a bit too long. Loads of people are saying, actually, no, we don't care about this. There's still a bit of a hardcore community on there, but just spending their money and spending more money. I can't help but feel that it's probably high time this came to an end before it became the free-to-play market's ET.
Well, I don't think it would go that far. I mean, it's not fundamentally broken.
Depends on what the prize is, because if people found out they've wasted days of their lives and the end prize is Molyneux going, yeah, so Project Goddess, you've got to pre-order now.
You've got a name in Project Goddess.
Yeah, this is how.
Yeah.
We'll call it Project whatever your name is. Project
Steve.
Project Alan. There
It's
we go.
life-changing.
So yes, curious times indeed.
Oh.
With the man of the moment, Peter Molyneux. Moving away from that, from stuff that's gone on far too long, to new stuff, to stuff that hasn't even arrived yet. A couple of big announcements this week, some big announcements, some big trailers. Rockstar obviously gave us arguably the largest one of the week with just like all of the internet going mental over a new GTA 5 trailer.
As always.
As always. And our initial reaction, was one of, well, this is all very nice and scripted and lovely, and man, they can sure make a nice shiny trailer. But gameplay,
There was none. There was none there, and it's why I wrote up an article. You can see it on site. Why I'm staying reserved on it all and keeping my enthusiasm in check. Because you're right, the trailers showed us nothing of in-game gameplay. I mean, yes, it was the in-game engine, and it all looked very pretty, but that was about it.
Really pretty. It almost looked too pretty.
Too pretty
for current gen consoles.
Yeah, or it was the PC build. Even though there isn't,
it hasn't been announced yet, but there will be. I mean, the PC market is actually one of their most popular, and it's the one that generates the YouTube videos, and it's the one that keeps the aftermarket excitement going.
Those fantastic mods.
Yeah, exactly. It's the one that the community builds themselves. It's always the case. The PC community lives the longest and is the most loyal in a way as well. So I'm sure there will be a PC build once they've flogged some of the console versions.
Exactly, but yeah, you're right. We were very I don't know whether cage is the right word, but we were holding back our excitement, and at least waiting to see if there was some sort of gameplay, because we've not had any information since the initial announcement last year, when they said, oh yeah, we're going to have heists, there's going to be 3 main characters and you'll be able to swap between them. It was like, great, but how does this affect gameplay? How does it all work? Does it actually feel fun to play? I mean, we didn't have any answers for that at all, and that trailer didn't give us any.
No, but since then it seems that a few of the biggest sites have been invited into Rockstar's offices, and a few more details have come out from the likes of sort of Game Informer and IGN and that lot. And like some of it's quite interesting. Some of it almost I'm still a little bit reserved on this as well, because things like obviously the big draw is like there's going to be 3 characters. We saw that in the trailer, each of their own distinct personalities and characteristics. They're all going to have their own special abilities and their own statistics as well.
Yeah, kind of harken back to San Andreas in a
Yeah.
little way, in that you'll be able to. Well, the more you use the abilities, or the more you use their skills, such as strength and stamina and underwater breathing, that sort of thing. Um, the more you use them, the more proficient they become, the better the stats become, and so you're kind of working on them over time. Um, and so, I mean, as long as they don't use eating again, which was kind of one of the main things people complain about, than going to the gym, I think they'll be absolutely fine. But it doesn't just stop there. You'll be working on your character that way. You'll be able to customize your characters as well, give them new haircuts, change their clothing, tattoos, the whole work. So it's like they've taken out the annoying elements of San Andreas, but kept in the stuff that players could use, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I also like the fact that they're taking a lot of cues from Max Payne 3's combat engine, which,
Yeah.
while I don't think that particularly suited Max Payne, it was quite solid, very solid, much better than GTA 4.
Yeah.
Crucially, and having an engine or having a combat engine like that in um, in this open world, I think that's going to make it much more enjoyable. But am I the only one that's slightly scared? I'm actually scared by how big this thing's looking. It says it's 5 times the size of Red Dead, and I'm actually terrified by that.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know whether that's necessarily landmass that's stretching out, or whether we're talking verticality here as well. Because obviously you're going to be climbing skyscrapers, you're going to be able to jump in planes and jump out of them.
Yeah.
It'll
It's gonna
include
be
the ocean
scaling.
as well, which you can
Exactly,
apparently go
yes.
into as well. So there'll be a lot of water, I assume.
Yeah, there you go. There'll be depth as well. So as well as going, well, verticality in general. So we don't know how that's going to play out in terms of virtual square feet or whatever. But it's still going to be a very big game.
Yeah, and I think we talked about size in a previous podcast, and I've been quite outspoken about this. I much prefer things to be quite quality over quantity. I think you can basically boil my perspective down to. I think.
Yeah.
And we used Sleeping Dogs as a perfect example of a really well contained city size that had lots of things going on, and a narrative that didn't outlast its welcome, that sort of thing. And one of the problems I had with GTA 4 was that I never really had any sort of drive to finish it.
Yeah, and I think part of that was down to the fact that Nico Bellic was an awful, 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 awful character. At least that's how I feel. But the fact that you've got these three characters with their own distinct personalities, their own hobbies that they go and do, like you'll have what's his name, Michael, who will be into golf and tennis, and then you'll have Franklin, who's into extreme sports, and then you're going to have Trevor, who's into killing people. Because that's the thing, they've talked about how you'll be able to switch back and forth between characters by using the D-pad, and it kind of has like a Google Maps zoom out sort of aspect, and then you zoom back in. And they're saying that the whole point is that when you switch from character to character, they're going to be in different situations, doing different things, so it keeps things interesting. One example being that they zoomed out from Franklin, went into Trevor, and they found him on a beach, surrounded by corpses, wearing just some Y-fronts.
Oh, the scuzzy Y-fronts.
Yeah, so
stuff.
it's going to be interesting to see who is everyone's favorite character by the end of it, because there's going to be some really interesting takes. I mean, they've said that they're trying to move away from movie inspirations, but at the same time they've kind of looked at things like The Wire and Breaking Bad and the way that characters develop through that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that affects the way the story works.
Yeah, because I mean the GTA games have always riffed on sort of popular culture and popular media. Well, Vice City was Scarface essentially with Ray Liotta. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what sort of things they've taken from sort of modern Americana in terms of the media. in that respect. I like the fact that property acquisition is coming back.
Yes.
Like, empire building is just one of the best things. Like, the Vice City
Making
stories
tons of money. Yeah.
was amazing. Because it married that sort of the best aspects of Vice City and San Andreas together, and you could take it with you because it was a PSP game. It was great.
Yeah, I think the two things that have really caught my eye, one was the property acquisition. The other one is to do with basically the heists. In that you've really got to plan them out. You've got to sort out your weapons, customize those, customize the getaway cars, put the getaway cars in the right places so that if you need to do a switch over, you've got it in the right place, and that's down to you. That's not a scripted place that you put the car. That's completely down to you where you position it, and that seems really interesting to me. Like, you've really got to think about how you go about the heists and everything else. And then outside of that, you're going to be able to do kind of like dynamic things like hijacking security vans and things like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works in the form of multiplayer as well, because of course they've only shown the single player. They've said there's going to be another reveal for multiplayer later on down the line. So yeah, I'm interested to see what that's going to be involved with the multiplayer aspect of it all.
Yeah, very much. I'll sort of watch this space on GTA 5 because we haven't seen or gotten hands on with it as yet.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember those previews were hands off as well, so we don't know how it plays with a controller in your hands. But things do look a lot better now. We've got more details. We just need to see the game in action, I think.
Agreed. Elsewhere this week, finally, after we basically. There was a lot of skepticism around Call of Duty Ghosts because the first picture sort of came out and it didn't particularly look terribly well done, and I was quite skeptical about it. But
I don't know why, being that those, like, the box art was absolutely legit. At least the Tesco one was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been announced. It's been unveiled. Well, it's going to be fully unveiled at interestingly Microsoft's reveal event.
Oh God, is Molyneux involved in it?
Yes, in Call of Duty Ghosts, you're going to be able to plant an acorn on the battlefield.
It all makes sense.
Yeah, and then suddenly, the
acorn
tree will sprout up.
Otacon, do you think that acorns can bloom on the battlefield? We'll finally be able to answer that question. But yeah, so Call of Duty Ghosts has finally been officially announced after the cat was let out of the bag. All of the cats were left out of the bag. The bag is a dot to the cats. It is so far behind them in the distance. And we don't really know anything about it beyond the fact that it has a brand new next generation engine that will allow it to release both on current gen and next gen consoles. It's described as an all new Call of Duty world with new characters, which perhaps suggests that this is a sort of spiritual successor to the original fan favorite Ghost character as opposed to Ghost himself.
Yeah.
It's going to be an all new experience. Everything's going to be new and totally new. So I'm kind of hoping. Well, I should probably mention there is a reveal trailer, which is just the most pointless 2 minutes of your life that you'll ever spend. You get to watch a lot of people wearing masks. And it bangs on about how important masks are and keeping hidden. Masked warriors wear masks. And then it zooms in on a bloke who isn't wearing a mask. And you see his face. What?
The paint is a mask.
Then it's like, what? But yeah, you've gone on about these masks, and then there's just some dude, and then he puts his. That's not. It annoys me. But we're gonna have to wait for actual gameplay. At the Microsoft reveal to actually see what they're going on about. And yes, you can also pre-order it if you're an idiot.
Yay! I've already pre-ordered 12.
Pre-orders are now open, so if you are the kind of person who would put down maximum RRP money for a game that we haven't seen screenshots, a game that is literally only a name
and a trailer, with masks, all the masks.
That's not a trailer. That's just total bullshit. Yeah, if you are just a brainless goit, then yeah, go pre-order it. Have fun with that. That would be our top tip of the week. But I kind of hope here. I do feel there's an opportunity for Call of Duty here because you know, a lot of we have to be honest. A lot of games ape Call of Duty for a slice of that pie. You know, a lot of games. I mean, from crappy little shitty awful games like what is it, Raven Squad and stuff like that, to even Battlefield in some cases. Look at that single player campaign. I mean, that, you know, they even the biggest competitors are trying to emulate Call of Duty in some way. They could say, look, we've sort of defined one generation of first-person shooters, so actually all of our competitors are doing this thing now. We could do something different. We've got these masked warriors. We could put the focus perhaps on stealth and player choice and giving them enormous levels to sort of engage in their own way, using tactics, using advanced AI, using a host of vehicles perhaps. I don't think that's hugely likely, but I do feel there's an opportunity for them here to do something new and perhaps live up to the whole sort of actual Black Ops thing that the Black Ops series never quite capitalized on.
Yeah, because they said all new story, all new characters, all new Call of Duty experience.
Yeah, no, yeah. Okay, so like Captain Lice and his moustache, he's got a pencil moustache this time, is going to be fighting the evil Nakarov, who's got some nuclear weapons, and the Russians are bad. But I just hope that, looking at that trailer, I just hope that actually you're not playing as any of these modern warfare guys. You're actually playing as one of the samurai or something, or tribal warriors. That'd be awesome.
Well, the guy with the face paint.
Yeah, or face paint guy. So, you know, that would be pretty cool. But yeah, we currently know nothing about this game, apart from it's totally new and totally coming to next-gen consoles, and we'll learn more about it at the Microsoft reveal event, the Microsoft console reveal event. At which point, we may also find out what the hell Respawn have been working on.
Yes, because there's rumors coming around that Respawn are making their all new FPS. They're all new, always online FPS.
Well,
multiplayer
FPS.
Well, multiplayer FPS. An Xbox exclusive. Yeah. Which will be very interesting. Immediately setting them up against Destiny.
No. I mean, from what we've heard about Respawn's project, it's a multiplayer FPS. It's PvP. It's not some sort of big, whatever the hell Destiny is. We still don't know what Destiny is, but no. It's, by the look of the reports, it's a team-based multiplayer game that has mechs in it. These are uncorroborated reports, but I love mechs, and if there are mechs in this game, that would make me very happy. And it would also be an interesting statement of intent, partly because, EA this generation have been mainly about showing the PS3 some loving. And more to the point as well, it might show that Microsoft are falling back into those bad habits that they've been getting into this gen of buying exclusive games rather than fostering new relationships with studios, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It seems strange if that was the case, though, with EA, because pretty much everybody who is a third party has been ensuring that all of their stuff gets on everything else. I thought that the days of third-party exclusives were over.
Not if you're Microsoft, they're not. Microsoft had better hope they're not.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Microsoft have never been good at fostering first-party talent necessarily.
No, I mean,
God knows they let few.
They let Bungie go.
They let Bungie go. They let BioWare slip through their fingers.
Sega, they could have Sega.
And that's the thing. Like as you say, Cole, like more, it's restricting yourself to a single platform for big publishers has been exposed as a massive no-no this generation, because it's just not financially feasible. You want to get your game out to as many people as you possibly can. So Microsoft must be paying EA big for this, and that's it is worrying, because that's an unsustainable model. Really.
It is, and I think it's been shown to be unsustainable increasingly throughout this generation, because Microsoft started this gen amazingly well, but then while they've been just sort of securing 30-day like DLC exclusivity, Sony's just been quietly amassing this big army of developers who make exclusive games for them. So yeah, I think Microsoft needs to get on board with, just at least locking down people like Twisted Pixel.
Yeah.
Make, for God's sake, like, get down the few people who do make exclusive games for you and actually make them first party and pay them a huge amount of money and give them like loads of tenure. But yeah, these are rumors. We must stress these are rumors. We may also not find anything about the project, codename Titan, not anything to do with Blizzard's Titan. That's a whole different thing. We may find out more about this on the 21st, and we might not. We may hear reveals closer to E3 or down the line, or at E3's presser. Sorry, at EA's presser. So basically, watch this space, and it looks like we will have third and first-person shooters to play next gen.
Woo!
Surprise!
Next generation first-person shooters. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, lots going to be coming out on that May 21st presser. It's going to be very, very, very interesting indeed. I'm looking forward to that immensely. Elsewhere in terms of sort of next gen Nintendo, we need to talk about Nintendo because as you rightly said before the podcast, they've been getting. They've had a bit of interest on the site with the post that we've been running this week. And the thing is, it seems we always keep returning to Nintendo week after week in our Game Buzz podcasts, but they keep sort of warranting it.
Yeah,
This week
they've done something quite. I mean, they've done something that they should have done months and months ago, in that they've sent Wii owners a message on the sort of, I think it's the Wii Connect 24 channel that I don't think anyone actually checks, but they've sent Wii owners a message on that saying, come on guys, the Wii U, look, it's not just an upgrade, yeah, the problem is the post makes it sound exactly like an upgrade because the post goes, you can play all the games you've already got on it and use all the peripherals and play games in HD and play Mario games in HD, which makes it sound even more like an upgrade than it was. So I don't know. They say that it's not an upgrade, but it upgrades all of the stuff that you've got and you can play your old games on it. And Mario and HD. It's an HD Wii. It's an HD Wii upgrade. No, it isn't. No, it's a totally new and exciting thing. But yeah, they've kind of realised that there are still loads of people, even Wii owners, who don't actually know what the Wii U is. I still run into people on a weekly basis who don't even know that it exists. Literally, that the Wii U exists. And yes, Nintendo does have to reach out to its enormous Wii install base and try and just get a fraction of them to, well, let's not make no bones about this, upgrade. Because, that is a huge market out there, a huge market that shockingly, because of the fact that their adverts have been so few and far between and shit, that they have no idea that Nintendo even have a new console out. So yeah, Nintendo needs to get on this. It sounds a bit desperate, but this is the sort of thing they should have done all through last year, or every week last year they should have been doing this.
I like the fact that the transcript of Iwata's sort of conversations with investors over the recent financial reports came to light, and he said, and there was a point in there about the brand being, or the Wii U brand being damaged by misconceptions and sort of miscommunication. Miscommunication has been a big thing over the past few months.
Yep.
And certain software development companies assuming that the Wii U is not powerful enough, but other developers saying that they're very, very happy with the Wii U and that it's got a very different architecture from other consoles, and that if it's utilized in the right way, it can perform well. If you jump through all of these hoops, it can be good, and that Nintendo really needs to dispel this misconception. And then this came out, and it just didn't. And the thing is, like the Wii U, it even looks like a Wii upgrade. Like it looks just like a snazzier Wii.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a lovely piece of kit, and it is built like a tank. Like, genuinely, you could probably put that thing through a wall and it'd still play games. But yeah, you're right. Nintendo haven't helped themselves with. I mean, the main two conceptions around at the moment is either people just don't know what the Wii U is at all, or the Wii U is the gamepad. Like it's a new gamepad peripheral for the Wii. And Nintendo haven't done a huge amount to dispel that, because they've, at least in this territory, I can't speak for the American territory, which is usually what Nintendo concentrate on outside of Japan. But over here, they've just haven't marketed it at all. And that, again, is what makes me still slightly worried about their reticence to do an E3 press conference. Because you know what, for us who are so close to the sort of pulse of the gaming news, and who, you know, not only do we read and follow gaming news, but we bring it directly to you. We're plugged into the press releases. We're plugged into the system. It's great for us that Nintendo are doing these smaller focused events, but the fact is, the mainstream media's eyes are on E3. The mainstream media, the people who will actually tell, and I hate to make this distinction, I hate to make this damaging distinction, but will tell the general public, the people who have a Wii but don't follow gaming news, that don't follow sites like us, that don't know that Nintendo Direct's a thing, because the only way people know about Nintendo Direct is if they already follow gaming news. They won't, you know, they won't be able to report on this properly. They won't be able to get the Wii U into the public consciousness properly unless they do some big events that have the eyes of the world on it. So I just feel that they need to advertise. We've been saying this. We say this every damn week, but you have a thing, put out some adverts for the thing, and maybe people will buy the thing. Also games, they'll help.
Games generally do, and that's the thing. Like we've had a lot of these small focused Nintendo Directs, but even they have said precious little about the Wii U. It's all been focused on the 3DS, which now has just the has an abundant library of games already, and better yet, so much more to come. Games that we can point to,
and frequently do point to, while we're not too busy playing Fire Emblem Awakening.
Yeah, so Animal
Crossing.
Pull your socks up, Ninty, because you've really got to hit this hard in the next month.
And yeah, I will say as well, like, it amazes me at the moment as well, because the prices, Asda and Amazon, have lowered the prices now. The premium Wii is $199. The base edition Wii is $150. Like, that is a huge, like, that is going to make Nintendo big losses. Like, it's already selling at a loss. It was sold at a loss at launch, and retailers are already slashing this right down. And still, people on site are saying it's too expensive. This console that was already at a loss, I mean, we don't want to spend more than what? Some people are saying like 110 quid.
Yeah,
there's no way. There's no way Nintendo could sell at that sort of money. They're already making a loss. But the problem is that, like, that's not really the price. Really isn't really the issue. It's the fact that people will pay money for something they want, and at the moment Nintendo just haven't given Wii owners and gamers and people who say didn't own a Wii and were Nintendo fans but fell out of love with the company, they haven't given them a reason to want one really yet.
Yeah, it's also on top of the fact that the games are some of the most expensive for a system as well. And that when you put that on top of it, you know, £200 plus 40-50 quid for a game in addition to it is, well, it is pricey.
It is. And yeah, I think we should get off this subject before we start going around in even more circles.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nintendo advertise, bring out games. You know what? There are some really cool games. I can't wait for that Fire Emblem Shin Megami Tensei tie-in. God damn. Yeah, we need this stuff now. And if you keep fumbling this, Nintendo, you are, I'm afraid, probably going to be doomed into obscurity on the console front this gen.
Sad times.
Sad times, but I've got a 3DS, so it's
fine. Finally, this week, we return to the subject of Aliens Colonial Marines, because after the toothless intervention of the Advertising Standards Authority, a class action lawsuit has popped up.
Yes, it has. A law firm in California has brought a class action lawsuit against Gearbox and Sega, basically for false advertising. And for saying you promised something that you didn't deliver, so people who bought it at launch and people who bought it on launch day and people who pre-ordered should probably get a refund. And this is really, really interesting because the law firm involved were actually successful in another game-related class action lawsuit last year. I forget which one it was, but they have a proven track record in these things. And the way American law works is that if they win this case, it becomes a legal precedent. Publishers will be able to be taken to if this class action lawsuit is successful, publishers will be able, all future publishers will be able to be taken to task in America for bait and switch marketing.
Yep.
So this is interesting. So Gearbox are going to fight this hard. Sega will go one or two ways. Either they will fight it hard, or they will say, Gearbox told us this game was great. They gave us this demo. We didn't know that it wasn't representative of the original game. We had no way of knowing. This is your fault, Randy. I blame Randy. Don't look at us. We were as disgusted as you, and blame Randy. So, I mean, both
companies have issued statements.
Very brief statements.
Brief statements. Yeah. With Sega saying they're going to defend it vigorously, the Gearbox going a step further and saying attempting to bring a class action lawsuit out of a demo is beyond meritless. Calling this sort of this lawsuit frivolous. And staunchly standing up and saying that they will defend the rights of entertainers to share their works in progress.
Well, first of all,
there's something wrong with that statement, though.
No, the thing is, that statement's glorious. Like, we need to stand up for artistic rights when so many people want to clamp down on copywriting and sharing and the freedom of the internet. We need to be fighting, absolutely fighting for the rights of, well, not copyright holders, they can fuck off, but for the rights of, creatives to safeguard their work and to express themselves artistically. But trying to claim that the horrendously misleading marketing that Sega admitted was misleading, like defending that and trying to say that it's making some sort of brave artistic statement, I mean, that is beyond meritless.
Yeah, it's almost as if like you'd gotten the Mona Lisa and beforehand they were saying, oh yeah, look at this work in progress, it's great, and then when they go to the big reveal, it's just a stick woman with a smiley face.
Yeah,
that's basically all it was.
It's the face there, but then just the rest of the rest of the body's just a stick person.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing. We were expecting a fantastic masterpiece, and all we got was a stick woman. And you're right. Yeah. I think the class action lawsuit is within its rights to win, because frankly Sega cannot claim ignorance. They shouldn't do, because they should have been on top of this game from the start, and the fact that they weren't shows that they weren't doing their job of making sure that everything was going to plan. Gearbox are just it amazes me the fact that they've still got this season pass for Colonial Marines, and yet they are bringing out like news for the last piece of Borderlands DLC. Like they haven't said anything about Colonial Marines. So you know what, I actually think that they should lose, and I think it will be damaging to everything that Gearbox has, including Borderlands. But I think a point needs to be made, because it's not the first time we've had this. It's the War Z to with another example. It's not the first time, and in fairness, yes, we should ensure that developers have their artistic integrity there and protected, but at the same time, we as consumers need to be protected against false advertising, because if this doesn't get punished, then it's going to continue.
Agreed, and it's not about shit games. It's about, as you said, false advertising and completely misleading demonstrations, because that demo was a lie, a complete lie. It is completely separate to the finished game, and that's the point.
Even some of the screenshots were pure fabrications as well.
Pure fabrications.
Go back and look. Put in our search bar. Look at those screenshots. And I mean, I know bullshots well, it'll be interesting to see whether bull shots will fly if this becomes a precedent. But the unbelievable amount that some of those have been touched up is they're basically watercolors. It's unbelievable. I do feel perhaps that the fact that Gearbox have patched the game significantly is not going to work in the lawsuit's favour. I also feel that perhaps it's going to come down to the judge they get as well. But I mean, the American legal system often will come down on the rights of the big company here. As I say, this lawsuit has been successful. This law firm has been successful in game class action lawsuits before. And yeah, Carl, yeah, Matt, you're right. I mean, someone should probably answer for this in some way beyond having a tiny little slap on the wrist from the ASA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Save us from stick women.
Save us from stick women. That's the Dealspun hope of the day.
Yeah.
I think that's quite a nice place to end. Thank you very much for listening. Do join us tomorrow for the Pwnecast, in which we talk about parodying games and games that have tickled our funny bones. And yeah, hope you guys have a fantastic weekend, and we'll catch you tomorrow.